Yeah, cool. So, thank you, Nitin, and thank you, Kartik, for joining us today and teaching us about crypto. Both myself and Aggie both are, uh, we are at the nascent stage of learning about crypto right now. So I'm sure both of us will have a lot of things to take away, including everyone else on the forum. I'll pass on. No, so Nitin has a very interesting background. He's a college dropout, which is the most interesting thing I found on his profile, and most inspiring thing actually, because it needs guts to do it. So Nitin, why don't you, take a couple of minutes and introduce yourself to the group?
Absolutely. So traditional education is something that really didn't work for me. So I tried school, hated school throughout like all my life, and went to college. I was interested in computers and security around 2010. But that is not what the profession I wanted to choose. I was really interested in mechanical engineering, so I ended up taking mechanical engineering for college. 3 years into college, I decided, hey, you know what, this is kind of boring and it's not for me. So I decided to drop out. uh, Taught myself how to code from YouTube, and did a couple of free internships, and got myself a job. So I am mostly in the security space, the cyber security domain. So these days, at least pre-COVID, I used to travel across the world and talk at multiple conferences. Now I just talk in front of the camera to multiple organizations around the world, helping them ensure they don't get hacked.
Nice. Thank you, Nitin.
Sure.
Karthik also is one of the early starters in the crypto space. He built a community back in 2016, I believe, of around more than 700 people, where he was increasing awareness around crypto. And now he's working with a crypto firm startup. It's a startup, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So. So Karthik, why don't you tell us more about yourself?
sure. Thanks a lot, Neeraj, and thanks both of you for actually hosting us today. I'm actually generally a very yeah. For the past 3 years, I've been in the crypto space. Prior to that, I was working with a early stage VC firm called InvestorPad, where I was kind of researching different sort of trends in the market and new technologies out there. And that's how I actually came across crypto and blockchain for the first time. Although I had come across Bitcoin before, but I didn't really understand it. Put in some money, made some money, and I was like, okay, just pure fluke. At that point, this is I think 2015 or something. Uh, but then once I started learning more about it, I got deeper and deeper into it, and I got really excited about it. Which is why I wanted to create a community and kickstart the ecosystem in India as well. So like Neeraj mentioned, I organized this conference called India Blockchain Week back in 2017, which was the first of its kind in India, and kind of uh, uh, kind of proud to say that a lot of startups kind of took birth right after that conference because they finally saw uh, uh, crypto being talked about amongst others as well. Till then, mostly it was online, and like conferences and meetups like these kind of help new people come into the ecosystem. So I was very pumped up about that. Since the past 3 years, I've been working on building different solutions for clients all over the world. So work in this company called Somish Blockchain Labs. So we work with enterprises, governments, and startups to build both crypto as well as non-crypto enterprise blockchain, which yeah, I'm just gonna steer clear from. Uh, and recently, we launched our own product called PlotX, which actually uses a native cryptocurrency called Plot. So we've actually launched our own cryptocurrency back in like October 2020, and currently it's trading at a valuation of $16 million, and yeah, about $1 million daily trading volume. So that's where I am right now. I am very bullish towards crypto. So a big disclaimer right now. Uh, uh, I believe in the space too much, but yeah, because I live it all the time. So yeah, I just want to give that disclaimer right up front
Plus
before
one
the.
for me too.
Yeah, so you guys should take it all with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But I think we are very fortunate to have both of you as a part of our community. We are going to learn a lot for the next 1 year from you guys, and I hope that we make some crypto millionaires in this forum as well. So I guess we can start with the session now. So Nitin, Kartik, whoever wants to go first, firstly, what we want to understand from you is, what exactly is crypto? What does it do? Like nobody can see it, and like gold dikhta hai at least.
Mhm.
But crypto kya karta hai? What does crypto do? Let's, if you can spend 2-3 minutes on that.
Uh, all right.
Kartik.
So essentially, um, it all started with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a way to transfer value from one person to another digitally. Uh, and the reason why it's there is because it solves the double spend problem with digital currencies. Uh, or anything digital essentially, right? If I transfer a JPEG to you, I have, I can have a copy while you can also have a copy. So it just literally creates two copies. But when I transfer my Bitcoin to you, uh, it the way the entire architecture is built is such that I cannot have two copies of that same currency. This particular problem has been around for a while. I think since the early late 80s, early 90s. A lot of security researchers and people who the whole cypherpunk, like basically underground movement of hackers and computer developers. They've been at it trying to understand how we actually solve this particular problem and make sure we can have a digitally native currency. But and they've made a lot of attempts over a period of time, and somehow or the other there was always either some form of centralization where there would be a person required to be trusted for this exchange to happen. But but only with Bitcoin, with the way it was architected, did we figure out, okay, there's a way to exchange value digitally without having to trust any other person in the middle. Uh, and the more you get into crypto, you'll realize trust is a very big factor in everything that we do today. And one of the reasons why crypto is becoming bigger and bigger is because the institutions and the people who we've traditionally trusted uh, are now losing that credibility in the market. Uh, so, so yeah, I'll talk more about that, but yeah,
So,
that's
so when we compare crypto with the currency or money what we use today, to exchange for goods and services,
yeah.
so are you saying that the only difference is that there is no middleman involved in crypto when we are doing an exchange, and also that it is on digital only and there is no physical form of cryptocurrency in existence?
So one of the biggest plus points of crypto is the lack of trust. Yes, today during the pandemic, the U.S. printed, I think, $3 trillion. That is more money printed than its entire history. Uh, and when you print more currency, your currency value actually decreases, right? So, and who takes that decision of printing more money? Uh, and even if you do print that money, where does it actually go? Who's actually benefiting from it? Like the average person doesn't really benefit from it. There can be like whatever narrative you want to sort of put in the market. The average person generally doesn't get anything out of it. uh, yeah, I think they got $600 or $1,200 worth of their currency
Checks,
eventually. But
yes, yes.
yeah, the checks. Uh, but it's not really. It's very opaque. The traditional financial system is built in a way that only helps like a certain
Yeah,
segment
of
of the
course, everything is in the
so
hands of central banks,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that.
when you look at Bitcoin and you look at the whole reason why this cryptocurrency or the DeFi space, we'll also talk about that. The decentralized finance, that whole ecosystem has been built is because the idea is to remove those middlemen, put it all on open source smart contracts, and build protocols that can be verified by external parties, and there is more transparency overall in the ecosystem. So that is the whole
Okay.
goal of crypto in general right now.
So one last question before we move on to the investing part. Uh, do you think that this will be a parallel currency in future, or is there a possibility of crypto getting extinguished for and not even existing anymore, or do you think that it will replace the traditional currency?
Again, big disclaimer.
Your
I
thoughts. Your
Yeah,
thoughts. Yes.
yeah. I think it'll replace the traditional currency.
We can also
Yeah,
yeah,
Nitin, so you
yeah,
were
Yeah,
Nitin. Yes.
sorry. So like I'm of a different opinion, right? So a little bit different at least. So when you think of the value of Bitcoin, right? So like you were saying, gold, I can buy it, I can sell it, I can hold it in my hands. But where is Bitcoin? I can't hold it in my hands, right? So where is the value derived from? So when you really think about it, of any value, right? So anything of value, it honestly depends on supply and demand, right? So if you really, really boil it down to the base level, it's only dependent on the supply and demand. If you have something I want, I'm willing to pay for it or exchange for it. So again, previously all the barter system, the double coincidence of wants and all that, and then we had the IOUs and whatnot, right? So these days, the currency that we are using, the US dollars or the Indian rupees or anything fiat, really, it is not really backed by anything, right? So if you really think about it, yes, it's backed by the infrastructure, the government to a certain extent. But what we've been learning so far with all of the unrest and all the corruption is we can't really trust anybody. And when you really think about it, when you open up your bank account, right? So if you open up a bank account and view your balance, the money, the number that you see there, if you really think about it, it's just a database entry on a computer somewhere, right? So tomorrow, let's assume ICICI, right? So I'm not picking any favorites. Let's say ICICI does not like you for some reason, or you're doing a shady transaction. They can come and freeze your account, no questions asked, right? So it's going to take you a lot of effort for you to go ahead and unfreeze it. And Bitcoin, it takes care of all of that for you, right? So you do not have to ask anybody permissions. As long as the entire network is alive, you can go ahead and trade or make exchanges or make settlements. And the core value, like Karthik rightly pointed out, right? So the core value comes in the trust minimization, right? So you don't need to trust any individual or a government entity or any private person. You can just go ahead and ensure that the network is fairly secure. Trust me, coming from a security background, it is so the power of the entire Bitcoin network, right? So where Bitcoin runs, the computing power is more powerful than the top 5 supercomputers in the world combined, right? So that is how powerful the entire Bitcoin network is. So the value, if you really ask me, it comes from trust minimization. It comes from the fact that it is also limited supply, right? So gold tomorrow, they can find a mine somewhere in China or Russia or someplace else, and the supply of gold is going to increase. So the gold that you're holding, the value is obviously going to go down. When it comes to Bitcoin, however, there are only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever. And this is going to be by 2040, right? So right now, I think it's about 18.6 million. I'm not entirely sure. So, but it's somewhere around that number. But by 2040, the maximum amount of Bitcoin that will be circulating is 21 million. And if people have lost their Bitcoin or if they've misplaced it, those are not going to be counted, right? So it's going to be much lesser than 21 million, if you really ask me.
Okay, thanks. It all started with Bitcoin, right? The cryptocurrency space. But now I was seeing earlier today that there are more than 100 cryptocurrencies in existence right now. How did that happen, and why did that happen? Why are people creating different currencies, and how do those currencies get their value? Whatever the value that is being assigned to them, how is that value assigned? What is the methodology? What is the thought behind assigning that value?
So first off, there are not hundreds but thousands of other
Okay, wow.
cryptocurrencies. It's just, uh, yeah,
clearly
I
we're
think.
very ignorant.
Neeraj, we can create a cryptocurrency for you called Neeraj
Please,
Coin if
please
you
do.
want.
So So what happened was, with Bitcoin, the primary use case of Bitcoin was transfer of value from one person to another, right? Uh, Bitcoin was like just one use case, but the way because they wanted to be highly secure in the way the entire transfer is done, you cannot build much on top of that using that infrastructure. So that infrastructure, the Bitcoin has its own blockchain, like it's its own blockchain, it's its own chain, it's a ledger that is only used for maintaining the transactions from one person or one address to another. Once Bitcoin came into the fore, there were another set of people who said, okay, Bitcoin is transfer of value from one to another. Let us create a layer, another similar layer, and transfer and attach logic to that as well. So if Bitcoin is just from A to B, Ethereum is like the biggest other second chain after Bitcoin. Adds value, adds logic on top of just the value transfer. So what that does is it opens like a Pandora's box where you say, okay, what are the different use cases where we can attach logic and it can and transfer value to each other, and logic in such a way that there is trust minimization. There's no one in the middle, and it's just if there are conditions being met, the transfer of value can just happen automatically. So that's how Ethereum was born, and uh, Ethereum is the blockchain that kind of powers, I would say, almost all the good big projects out there right now. Uh, Now, on top of Ethereum, if you want to build any particular project, any particular application, you want different players in the ecosystem to actually be incentivized to sort of do the right thing for that particular ecosystem. Then how do you incentivize them is a big question. Like today, if you start an app, right, you launch an app, you own the app, and you have to do everything to make sure that there is you have to have a marketing team, you have to have a sales, product, tech, everything in house, and then you have your own customers, and you're dealing with those customers. But when you say we want to be a decentralized application, we don't want a middleman, then that means you yourself cannot be the sole owner of that application. You want to distribute the power amongst a bunch of amongst your own entire community. So to incentivize that community, they created this. They took the concept of Bitcoin, and then they sort of incentivized everyone using these new cryptocurrencies built on top of the existing blockchain. So typically, any currency that is created derives its value from the community that is using that currency within a particular ecosystem, and the velocity of that token, right? Like how much that token is being exchanged within the economy, and then it literally creates its own the value that goes up the more the number of people are using it within that particular community.
So to sum it up, say Ethereum was created for you to be used in the community, where for whatever community it was being created. But now that it's now that it has gained popularity after Bitcoin, people have started using it as a currency, right? That's what it ultimately
Uh,
means.
See, like Nitin initially said, right? Currency is anything that you attach value to. If you attach
Yeah.
value to Ether, then yes, it's a currency. I'll accept Ether. The primary use case for Ether is to pay a transaction fees on the platform. So Ethereum, think of Ethereum as, I mean, this is very simplified. There's a lot more to it, but think of Ethereum as like a giant. It's like a decentralized AWS, right? You pay your AWS bills, you pay for how much you use. Every transaction has like a $0.001 kind of a cost. So how do you pay that within a decentralized infrastructure? So you use Ether is their currency, and that is the primary use case for the Ether token, which is the blockchain ka token. Now you are
Understood.
building on top another application. To use that application, you need Ether, but within that ecosystem, you're creating a new token and sort of distributing it. So that's where the new currencies come in.
From an investment perspective, does it, Nitin, would you think that most people should limit their scope, therefore, to like Bitcoin and Ethereum, uh, or should we like actively sort of look at other cryptocurrencies as well?
Sure. So the way I really think about it and the way I value anything, right? So again, supply demand, the compute network, right? So you want to look at how much compute or how many resources are being used to ensure that that particular cryptocurrency is running successfully, right? So that will show you the amount of support or the backing behind that cryptocurrency. So right now it is, I think Bitcoin is obviously the highest. And one more thing that I personally pay attention to is the entire cult behind it, right? So the reason, like Bitcoin, I'll be honest with you, it is not the best cryptocurrency technology anymore, right? So there are obviously better ones and there are new ones being developed day in and day out. But if you really look at the cult behind it, it's like Balaji Srinivasan, Naval Ravikant, Peter Thiel, Jack Dorsey. It's so many people who are backing it and who believe in it. And what I would generally recommend, if you want to try and have some exposure to the crypto space, but want to limit the potential damage that it might probably cause, is try and stick to the top five ones at most, right? Do not go over the top five ones and try to understand what it actually does before you pour some money into it.
Got it. I'm just taking a couple of questions that came on chat. I think that
Sure.
make more sense at this stage.
Mhm.
India and legality, right? So I think one question Kunal is asking is literally, should you guys be in jail? The two of you.
Okay.
That, like that's as a point
I
taken.
think that was for specifically for Karthik because of what he's doing in the crypto space.
No, no, I didn't mean jail, but
No, no, no.
obviously,
It's okay. It's okay. No, you get this a lot. Firstly, it's not illegal in India. So yeah, it's fine if you do own or hold any cryptocurrency. Um, Also, to make sure that we are kind of safe from any random decision that the Indian government makes, we've actually incorporated in Singapore, which has a very clear crypto policy. And they actually recognize different types of cryptocurrencies as well. So they're on a different level altogether. Uh, I don't see what does ban mean really. You have to understand cryptocurrencies. There's no custodian. Eventually you can hold crypto and government may want to ban it, but what will they really ban? They will only be able to ban or sort of limit your access to points points where they control the entity. So they, if they ban crypto, maybe your WazirX won't be able to, you won't be able to get a very high liquidity on your WazirX or any other exchange that you use to onboard onto the crypto ecosystem. But you can't eventually ban crypto because there is no owner. Like if I have Bitcoin and I want to transfer Bitcoin to Aggie, sorry, Abhishek, I don't think there is no middleman involved. There is no place, there is no point where they can actually ban. They can intervene in the first place. So yeah, so that's what I feel of the ban.
So, so
One question,
s-
follow up on this, Karthik. Now, sorry I joined a bit late, but my fundamental idea was, let's say any other exchange in the world, for example, take Coinbase, hypothetically. If my KYC is done based on my Indian account and let's say hypothetically Indian government bans it, they can still ban me, right?
That's
I
what I'm
just want
saying.
to.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
Nitin,
ahead.
sorry.
Sorry, Karthik. You want to finish that?
Yeah, I'm just saying that Coinbase is still a centralized exchange. That's what that is a point where the government kind of can intervene. There are the typical, like the traditional
So you're
way of.
saying P2P transaction, of course, cannot get affected, but yeah, transaction from exchange eventually might get affected, can get
Yeah,
affected.
that is the only that is the point where that is what we're trying, like the entire ecosystem is trying to solve for right now, to be honest. Like a lot of people are trying to figure out ways to on ramp more users without without having to be exposed to that kind of regulatory risk. So it's just a risk within the ecosystem, but yeah.
But
So a
even if
quick note.
India, sorry,
I'm
oh,
Yeah,
carry on, Nithin.
Nithin, go
Nithin,
for it.
so
you can complete. Yeah.
Sure. So a quick note I wanted to make on this entire banning fiasco, right? So if restrictions were really possible, there wouldn't be drugs on the street and there would be no porn on the internet, right? So it's simply not going to work in a long-term perspective. On top of that, the advantage of crypto, like Kartik rightly pointed out, is the entire factor of decentralization. There are not really much ways in which a government can prove that you are holding cryptocurrency, right? So they can't come knock on your doorstep and say, are you asking cryptocurrency? I'll obviously answer no, but it's up to each individual, right? So and ideally you will want to store it on a hardware wallet and not on exchanges. I personally try to avoid keeping any amount of cryptocurrency on an exchange. I rather have a hardware wallet that I store it on. And you might be wondering, they can just confiscate that particular hardware wallet, right? So they can just take it away and walk away. But that is not how it works, right? So if you, the way a hardware wallet works is once you create an account within that hardware wallet, it's going to give you a phrase of 12 words. If you remember that phrase of 12 words and your password, you can go anywhere in the world without your hardware wallet. You can recoup your cryptocurrency and you will be fine, right? So tomorrow, if the government actually does plan on banning cryptocurrency, I can pack my bag, head over to Estonia, uh, liquidate or trade my cryptocurrency to something else, and essentially move forward from there.
I think you have answered my question. Yeah, that was my whole point. Ki even if the exchanges get banned, if I am holding something, they cannot confiscate because it's not existing. And even if so, if I keep it with the exchange, like we keep shares in a demat account, does a demat account exist for crypto, or how does it work?
Your demat account is your wallet, right? So wherever
Your
you're
wallet.
storing, as long as you
Ah,
your currency and you have control over something known as the private keys. I won't go into much details. If you have the private keys, which is it is the most important aspect. If you have control over it, you own your crypto. No bank account, no government, nobody can force you unless you give up the 12 phrase and your password. Then they can obviously take it over. But if you can hold it in your memory, you can cross borders without having to carry like huge bags of gold, which has always been a problem with gold, right? So the transfer of wealth with gold, because it's rather heavy to transfer wealth. With crypto, that's the advantage. You can just rely on your memory and move anywhere.
interesting. Okay, Agi, you want to cover more questions?
Yeah.
I think we need to mute.
Yeah.
Someone needs to mute. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I think just to quickly address questions, I think Jaideep, these guys just answer questions. So Jaideep had a question, right? If the Indian exchanges get banned, then if I don't want to get on a flight to Estonia,
Mhm.
how else can I liquidate it?
Uh, I think Karthik will talk about DeFi in a little bit, but there is obviously going to be peer-to-peer, right? So no matter what, if tomorrow, just taking myself as an example, if tomorrow India bans cryptocurrency, somebody comes up to me and asks, "Do you want Bitcoin in exchange for Clash?" I'll gladly probably accept it, right? So there is always going to be a peer-to-peer. That is the entire advantage of cryptocurrency. It's decentralized, right? So it can be peer to peer and you can still perform trades even if there is no centralized entity.
Got it. And Komal has a question around just it being, is it legal in the UAE to hold crypto? If either of you know.
Yes, it is. It is. I know.
Got it.
It's not illegal.
I think he just bought some today, so I think it should be fine.
No, no. I live in Bahrain. I live in Bahrain. It's a different place. But nonetheless, it's
No,
regulated. Yeah.
I think we're ignorant on crypto, and Nithin is a little comparatively ignorant on geography, maybe, which is actually not true. He's pretty much gone across the world a crazy
Yes.
amount. Kunal, you had a question on wallets, right? Did that already get answered, or do you?
Yes.
Yeah,
No, no. I just had a follow up. So, like, I bought Ethereum today on an exchange. So I will get delivered that in that account, my account with the exchange. But if I want to transfer it to a more secure, what is the? I mean, where can I find more information on that?
Sure. So you have two options, right? So actually three. One, you can just continue storing it on the exchange, which is risky if you ask me. The next one
Yeah.
is depending on the amount you've invested, you have either software wallets or hardware wallets, right? So,
Okay.
in my understanding, at least the way I look at it, if you're holding anything over 1.5 lakhs Indian rupees worth of crypto, I would recommend a hardware wallet. Anything over 1.5 lakhs, I would recommend a hardware wallet. If it's anything below that, you can probably look at a online web wallet which gives you access to private keys. I
Thanks.
hope that answers.
You answered. Yeah. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. Sure.
Nitin, Nitin, have you ever explored wallets like Argent and Dharma? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
So I got Trezor Model T pretty early, so I've just been using
No,
that.
these are both software wallets like Dharma
Uh,
and Argent and Monolith.
I have personally not. I just use a hardware
Okay.
wallet for
Because
everything.
I feel like, even software wallets, like in terms of security and the fact that they're still non-custodial, these are also really good options. At least for me, I prefer to have those,
So
slightly lower amount and
are these software wallet providers regulated by any country, and
uh,
where?
one is French, one is in the US.
Okay.
But
So
these are not, again, these are not, they're still non-custodial in that they still give you the private key.
okay.
It's just the interface is connected by them, is created by them. So that's about it. The private key is still with you. It's still your own wallet.
S-
So even if
So
they get banned, you still have access to all your funds.
like I am on a little paranoid front since I work on like security
Exactly.
all day
Yeah.
long. So, but for me personally, as part of the threat model that I created before I shifted things, hardware wallet made more sense because like when you think about it, right? So again, to access the software wallet, you still need an internet connection. Now, if the government is going to be monitoring your internet connection, that can be a potential problem. Tomorrow, they can essentially ban that entire thing from happening. So you have to switch over to something like Tor or some other VPN. And that has its own set of security concerns because you are going through multiple networks and your private keys can, an attacker, not like me, but some other attacker out there can try and listen to the network calls and try and figure out what is happening. So that is the only reason I personally recommend hardware wallets.
So sorry, Abhishek, one second. So Nitin, tell me one thing. If I moved my crypto holdings to a hardware wallet, where else on the web does my identity exist that Neeraj is holding so many coins of whatever Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever?
So it is really hard to prove, to pinpoint and say, hey, Neeraj is holding it. So one way it can happen is if you transfer directly from Coinbase to your hardware wallet, then they can potentially look at Coinbase transaction and say, hey, you know what? It looks like Neeraj did a transfer out. Probably he's holding the cryptocurrencies, but there is still no sure way of proving that you in fact
Okay.
hold it if it is on your hardware wallet.
So a trail wouldn't exist except on the blockchain network.
Yeah.
Understood.
Is there a
Cool.
certain amount of investment beyond which you definitely recommend a hardware wallet? And I ask, let me ask that to Karthik, since you're not that pro hardware wallets, but is there like a amount that hey guys, if you're gonna cross this much in absolute value, so to speak, you should definitely look at a hardware wallet.
Uh, so the way I look at it, I also trade fairly often. So I need quick access to my crypto, and I typically like to trade on a centralized exchange. So I keep I keep a fair amount in that exchange as well, which is not recommended for everyone. This is money that is literally bonus for me, so I'm just like playing around with it. Uh, in terms of keeping specific amount in hardware versus software, again, it's about your use case. If you're in it for as an investment, and you want to just put it and forget about it, maybe like look at it year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, then hardware wallet definitely. But for me, because I'm an active user of the DeFi space, I need slightly easier ways to access that crypto. So that's why I've started exploring sort of software wallets as well. Uh, I see a lot of improvement, both in terms of UX as well as the security side of things for in these software wallets, which is why I was just generally curious if Nitin has explode these as well. So the like that 1.5 lakh, basically $1,000, anything above $1,000, you should definitely keep in your hardware wallet.
I think
And
what
how
also
much how much does a hardware wallet cost?
So it ranges anywhere
7,000 bucks.
between 5,000 to 15,000. So just
rupees?
essentially, I do a 10x and see if that's the value. Then I think about
That's
the
rupees,
hardware wallet.
right? INR.
Yes, rupees. Yeah, it's available on Amazon, so you can buy it off Amazon.
Got it. And
Okay.
so going back to sort of the investing side of it, um, and we did have, I think, a lot of more questions, but I'm trying to prioritize. How should people who aren't, as deep in the crypto scene as the two of you think about allocating some money to this in a portfolio? I think most of us, Neeraj and me, we both advocate like a asset allocation methodology, right? Where you're thinking about how much money you have and where you want to put it, how much are you saving every month, and where to sort of invest it, right? So, and I think crypto is definitely a space where I draw a blank. I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. And I think Neeraj and me have tried to answer that question between us, and we're still, so would love how should an average layman, lay woman think about this?
Sure. So the way I would think about it if I were new is first of all, make sure your emergency funds are set. The last thing you want to do is not have your emergency funds and then start getting into crypto, right? So cryptocurrency, the way I look at it, it is essentially a hedge against the current system, right? So it's a hedge against the current financial system. So if you completely trust the financial system, if you think the dollars or the fiat currency is going to continue to exist for prolonged periods of time, then I'd probably invest extremely small amounts, really, really small amounts. But at the same time, if you understand the problems with with the current fiat system, then and assuming you have your emergency fund set and all of that, I would invest the amount of money I'm willing to lose, right? So me personally, I do not follow this rule. Uh, Approximately 20 disclaimer, right? So 25% of my net worth is in crypto space, right? So tomorrow, if that goes to zero, it simply does not matter to me. I'm okay with that entire thing going to zero. And I've been in the space since like 2011, so it's okay, right? So if it goes down to zero, I don't believe it does. That's totally fine, right? So I'm willing to lose that money, and on top of it, I have no debt or anything of that sort, right? So only invest in the money that you are willing to lose once you have an emergency fund, and once you understand or once you comprehend the problems with the current financial system, because this is simply a hedge against it.
Got it. Karthik, what's your take?
Very similar. I think in terms of the percentage split, it's the same. It's just with the current bull market, that percentage just keeps increasing. But yeah, I think put in only the amount you're willing to. You're fine with losing completely. One thing that you'll notice once you get into the crypto scene is that uh, if you've seen what in a traditional financial world, and you're used to investing, or you've invested ever, you would see returns like 10, 12, 15%, and those are considered pretty decent. Uh, uh, and in the crypto scene, it's 10, 12, 15x. It's not percent, it's literally x. So you need to uh, and also this does not happen with every currency, but when it does happen, it does just like explode completely. So it's very important to sort of stay calm and understand what is happening before you even start investing. Um, and 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 also I think Nitin mentioned this before as well. uh, More than just the investment side, you should try to understand the sociological and the whole reasoning why this crypto space is there in the first place, to be able to make sense of what's happening, why Bitcoin exists, or why Ether exists. If you don't really understand or even know the stories behind it, then it's very hard to make any sort of judgments in terms of what you should invest in. You end up investing really stupid sort of tokens that come in and do like some really crazy marketing, and communication. I generally, anytime someone new comes, even to our organization from the non-crypto world, uh, the first thing we tell them is to read the Bitcoin white paper. It's a 9-page long white paper. It can be technical, but it's very important to read it still, to have a sense here, ho kya raha hai? What is the, why does this exist? And that is where we typically try to get them started. So yeah, I would recommend everyone else also, if you are interested in crypto, you should definitely read the Bitcoin white paper.
And I've actually left a few resources in the the Notion page for you folks to check out. So I think the resources page there, it's like very valuable. So I would highly recommend you check it out.
Yeah, we'll also send a follow-up email after the call, probably in a couple of days, with the list of resources for you to look at. So a few more follow-up questions. One is okay. So now that a lot of us are convinced to start investing in crypto, one would be how should one go about investing it from India? What are the exchanges that exist, and how do I create my account and all that? What are the logistics to sort this out?
I'd love to hear Kunal talk about this. What was his experience? This
I
was the
think he
first
got
time,
it
I
in the
think.
UAE though.
He got
Yeah.
it in the UAE,
Oh, I thought,
so
okay,
it will be
okay,
good
okay.
for
No, I bought, it
Bahrain.
was,
Yeah.
Rain, and
Sorry.
it's used in the Middle East with very simple KYC and links to my bank account. I could transfer cash, and I still haven't got delivery of the coin, but I know people who have got, so I'm not worried. I should
Wait,
get that
what?
in 2 days.
That does not
Wait,
sound right at all.
delivery of coins
No,
should be
that is
instant,
not.
ideally. No, no,
It
no, not at all.
needs to
It
be
should be,
instant.
yeah, you should
Okay,
have
so they said
access.
T+2, and it seems this is the norm here. But I'll raise that. It's a small amount that I bought today. Ethereum. Just
That's fine. I
I'll
would
check
be a
that
little
out. Thank
worried
you.
if I were you.
Probably some regulatory issue,
Probably.
if at all. But
Yeah.
It's
generally,
and this entity is regulated by the central bank here, so I'm
mm,
comfortable that this is not a con.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I
No,
know people who've got coins, but I'll raise this T+2 thing. I will.
sure. I think the T+2 is probably the regulatory
Regulation. Yeah.
thing more
Okay.
than anything else.
Yeah,
Typically,
maybe.
to get started, you like he said, mentioned, right? Like any exchange, the easiest way to get started is to do a KYC on any of these exchanges that exist in India. So I know of WazirX, CoinDCX as the two slightly bigger, more out there kind of centralized exchanges that exist. So I'm not sure, Nitin, if you have more
Uh,
names.
I just use something known as Zebpay because I'm like really lazy to get my KYC done again, and that
Yeah,
already has my KYC details. And the price difference fluctuates, like it's plus or minus 150, which is really not a lot in the crypto space. So I just stick to it and buy it from there. And as soon as I buy it, I just transfer it to my hardware wallet. Now, one quick thing that I want to reiterate that Kartik previously mentioned is if you're going to be trading the cryptocurrency, right? So if you're going to be involved in trading and not just holding it like me, then you will have to worry about the exchanges. If you just want to buy it and then transfer it to a hardware wallet or a wallet that you control, then to be completely honest with you, it really does not matter unless something happens in that instant, right? So within that 1 hour when you buy it, if it's simply bad luck, unless something like that happens, then it honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about the exchange. But at the same time, right? So like it really doesn't matter. If you are trading though, I would pay a lot more attention and probably use something like WazirX or something like that.
Is there any brokerage involved in this, and how does that work? Oh,
yeah, I mean,
that's Nikhil
exchanges
behind them.
typically
Yeah, that's Nikhil behind me.
exchanges typically to take like a very small percentage. I'm not aware of the exact percentage, but like they take a small percentage whenever you're exiting their ecosystem, and also a transaction fee of every sort of trade that you make on the exchange.
Okay. And so you guys mentioned that if we have to invest in crypto, top five cryptos are the cryptocurrencies to go and buy. But is there any sort of index of cryptos which comprises of say 50 or 100 currencies, and we can buy a bunch of them together like we do, like we buy Nifty or like we buy the Sensex?
I don't know. I don't think any of those exist in India. There are a few, entities in the US. Grayscale has a Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think they have like a bunch of different funds that you can invest in. I don't think that exists in India right now.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Pramod has a very interesting question. How is crypto taxed in India?
So I think any gains made from crypto, I think you are going to be taxed on that.
Yeah, I guess it will be a speculative taxation, income from
Yeah.
speculation, because it's not recognized yet. So there are no regulations around it, Pramod. So you just have to put it in income from other sources and pay 30%.
Yeah.
All right. So one more question. When someone is planning to buy crypto, how should they plan their investment? Should it be a lump sum or should they go for an SIP model? What should it be?
So that essentially boils down to how you value the currency, right? So I'll just give you a quick example. I've been buying Bitcoin for a while now, but as soon as the Tesla released a statement saying, "Hey, you know what? We've invested a couple of billion in BTC," I actually within the 15 minutes, as soon as I got it news, I bought some, and it's already up,
You
right?
should
So
tell them about what happened to me.
yeah, like Nikhil invested in it, and it's up by like I think 20 or 30% or more. Like
In 30 minutes.
in 30 minutes it was like the price had increased by a whole lot more, right? So this is a very very volatile market, and so so like Kartik said, understand what cryptocurrency is doing before you go ahead and put your money or bet your money on it. And with regards to the SIP model, there is a service called Bit Droplet. I have personally not used it, but I've heard good things about it from other folks. So what it does is every day you can, it essentially buys 100 rupees or a 300 rupees worth of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin for you, right? So if you want to go ahead and use something like that, you can potentially look into that as well if you don't want to buy lump sum.
Okay. That's a good perspective. So Jaideep has a question. You're not sure if anybody is into mining. Where do we get cheaper GPUs? I could barely understand it, so I'm sure you can understand it better.
We're a little late to mining now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Also on that, I think there's another application called CoinSwitch, which has just come up recently. I think they also they're trying to make it very easy for especially Indians to invest in Bitcoin. So again, like I haven't really used it, but I kind of know the team. So they've been around for a while and they've been building slightly easier ways for sort of very new people, to enter into the crypto scene. So I think they have an SIP model as well within their entire ecosystem. So you might as well check it out.
But
So
given the volatility, does the SIP kind of make sense, or should you just wait when you think it's low and just buy a lump sum, or just buy a lump sum and keep it anyway? Like, because it's, I mean, in stocks, you know that the broad trend line is upward and it is volatile, but nothing close to crypto. So, given the volatility, do you think, like, let's say, I know that in the next, by the end of December 2021, I want to have invested 1 lakh in crypto, as an example, right? So, is it better that I just sort of pop in a lakh now? Or maybe that, I'm putting in like 10K for the next 10 months?
So that depends on how much time you have. Like if you are okay with sitting every day, reading every article and trying to research and spend a lot of time understanding what is going to happen, then you can try and put in a lump sum. Even then, it's not going to be guaranteed. What I would probably recommend is every month, try and at least predict the down of that particular month or that week, and then put a little money and buy it like that. A lump sum is, at least in the current market, I personally would not recommend it, but again, it's like up to you, right? So I'm not
On
going to
that note, Saket has a question. What's the best crypto at the moment for short-term gains in the next 6 months?
I
I
won't be
don't take
making any
short term.
predictions right now.
Yeah, like me personally, I do not. Mine is completely long term. I don't do trading. I don't do short term, at least in crypto. So I'm not the right
So
person to
yeah,
ask.
Saket, it's extremely volatile space. You don't know what may happen tomorrow. So I would say, don't even look at it for short term.
Probably Dogecoin.
So what
Intentionally
what
very
Please don't give ideas to people. I have no
Nitin,
idea.
Nitin and Karthik, what exactly is long term for you, in the crypto space? Because if we are talking about equity, we say that long term is at least 10 years if want to invest in equity. What is long term? How do you define long term in the crypto space?
For me personally, long term is still I actually need it. To be completely, for me, I don't look at it as a currency. I personally look at Bitcoin at least as a store of value.
Okay,
I don't look at Bitcoin as a currency that I can go exchange. So for me, it's just going to be like a store of value. So unless I really want to buy something expensive or something really nice with that particular thing, I'm just probably going to keep it at least for 10, 15 years, if not more. Again, one more thing I do want to mention is this is not guaranteed, right? So tomorrow, if I see things changing, if I see Bitcoin going to crash for some reason or something potentially happening, I'm obviously going to liquidate it and move into some other asset class or some other asset. Uh,
interesting. How
Yeah,
about you, Karthik?
I think it's very similar. For me, I mean, I'm a lot more invested into the development of the space. So I don't think I don't typically take an exit. I'm just like, again, disclaimer that that's specifically to for me. I just I invest like a part of my salary every month into the space. Uh, Again, and that has actually the system I've used is what Aggie had created in his initial course, and I've just used like a part of my salary every month that I have to invest, and again, I created a percentage within that as well for non-crypto assets and then crypto assets. But I'm right now because the market is crazy bullish right now. It's just anything it feels like I'm very smart, but I'm not. I understand that anything you right now it's like you put money in anything, it will go up. Literally, it's that kind of a market right now. Uh, but I've also gone seen like multiple uh, crashes when things go up so quickly. So yeah, I'm just like I'm cognizant of that as well. So my entire strategy changes based on what's happening in the space currently. For people who are not following it day in and day out, I would suggest just I think that the SIP model of just choosing like two or three or maybe four assets that you feel have kind of resonate with you and your thinking overall of the space, and just like putting in small amounts every month and just sticking to them, not going
Yeah,
anything beyond would
starting
be
very small and staying invested is what we should think about right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There are a few people, I was this market, it's crazy sometimes. There's a project called Synthetics, which is a again like it's a derivative sort of application. uh, that token went launched at 30 cents. It went up, and then it went all like during the crash it went all the way down to 3 cents. uh, if you had invested 1,000 rupees back then, in that particular token, just 1,000 rupees today, this is what 2018. In 2018, you had invested 1,000 rupees. You would have like today, it's that token is worth I think $25 or no $30, and your 1,000 rupees would be worth 1 crore today. That's how volatile this market is. But at 3 cents, I can bet my life nobody thought that it was going to that particular amount, right? So how do you have to first understand a lot more about the space here. Okay, I'm just I'm just gonna put the money and forget about the price in the short term. And the short term is typically right from your a week to 3 to 6 months is I would still consider it short term.
so
Uh, yeah.
So just to give you a perspective on that end, right? So I got involved in the crypto space like 2011, 2012, and it was like $120 for one Bitcoin back then. And I essentially played poker with it and like essentially like donated a few of it and lost it all, right? So then I essentially got back into reinvesting a little bit, and now I hold quite a few. But essentially, like keep that in mind, right? So like it'll go up, it'll go back down. Be prepared for that. Have the gut to face it, and before you invest in something, please try and understand what it's trying to solve, what it's trying to do, and only put things into what you understand. Or if you're not motivated to understand what is happening, put a little bit of money into it anyway, and that will motivate you to go ahead and understand what is actually happening once money is going to be involved.
Yeah,
Cool.
and another strategy that I was discussing with my friend was that if you really want to just put money and forget, then put a very small amount that you really don't care about, and
Yeah.
that's like if you put in like say 50,000-60,000 bucks, then you're probably like thinking a lot more about yeah ye ab 40 ho gaya ya 30 ho gaya. If it's like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 bucks, you can just take okay, theek hai, we'll see. Um, that's also like one strategy that you can typically use.
Got it.
There's no minimum amount, right? I can start with 100 rupees as well, right?
Yeah, I think
So there is a problem there, right? So
Yeah.
every time you transfer cryptocurrency, either from your exchange to back your wallet, there is going to be a transaction cost, right? You are still going to pay a fee. So if you're going to try and transfer 100 rupees worth of crypto, it is not going to work, especially Bitcoin or even Ethereum for that fact. It is not. The transaction fees are going to be way higher than that, right? So that will not make much sense. So what I would recommend is, again, uh, try to value it on your own, see where the direction is moving towards, and again, no matter how much I say it, only invest things that you are willing to lose, right? So only invest the amount that you are willing to lose.
No, but on that note, if you're investing like $100, then you're probably better off keeping it on the exchange itself. You don't want
Yeah,
to.
Yeah,
exactly,
makes sense.
exactly.
Makes sense. That's absolutely right. I think Agi, you have
Recently,
anything to say?
2018, a friend of mine took like 10,000 bucks from me. He literally just took 10,000 bucks from me. He said he needed it for a medical emergency. And then on my behalf, he invested it into Bitcoin because we had a massive fight about it. And I was like, I'm not investing in Bitcoin. This is stupid, blah, blah, blah. And, I have no idea how much it's worth now. Don't know where the wallet key is, what it is, but hopefully I can access that money still. Inshallah.
All of us should have such friends.
I know. Yeah. No, awesome. I think this was really helpful as a first session, and I think we'll be doing hopefully another one, a detailed one in a couple of weeks. I think once we've all had some time to actually probably get the lay of the land. What I would request both you and Nithin and Kartik is just feel free to treat the crypto channel as your home ground on Discord, and annoy us with a lot of content to read up. And I think because one thing both of you are clearly saying is understand what the hell you're doing. So I think to do that, we probably need to be both consuming foundational information as well as news and updates and stuff. So if you guys can share anything that what you guys are reading, because there's also a lot of noise, I think, which is a problem. So anything you're reading which is signal, if you can just put it over there, it'll, I think, help all of us kind of refine our thinking a lot more. Super. I don't think we even have time for sort of closing questions. What I'm going to tell everyone is just throw any closing questions we have on the Discord channel, and I'm sure.
Yeah, we can take it forward from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was a amazing session, Nithin and Kartik. Thank you for doing this. Both of us, I think all of us have learned a lot today. And any follow-up questions on Discord, please, or feel free to DM Nithin and Kartik on Discord as well.
Yep.
Whatever works for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. We had a pleasure. Thanks so much, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Have a great evening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. See ya. See you around.